Johnny, there seems to be some sort of a squabble erupted between X and Elon and the Australian government. What the hell's going on? Oh yeah, there is a bit of toing and froing going on between Elon and the Australian government, especially the Prime Minister. Now the Prime Minister, yeah, right. He reckons X, formerly known as Twitter, we've always got to say that apparently, but formerly known as Twitter. Oh, by Jove, yes. The Prime Minister wants them to take down that video of that poor bloody priest getting stabbed at church here in Australia in Sydney a week or so ago. They want bloody Elon to take that down. Oh. What? And Elon? Oh. And Elon, he says it's a bloody restriction of free speech. And I tend to agree with him.
Just now, literally just now, Biden has banned TikTok. So in Australia, they're trying to shut down X. In Brazil, they're trying to shut down X. Rumble has left Brazil already, and Biden has just signed a bill to ban TikTok. Is it because of the ability for the Chinese to, I don't know, interfere in elections or to protect children or whatever they're claiming currently? Or is it simply because TikTok became a platform where anti-war videos were being prevalently exchanged and we've got an election? So is TikTok being banned to protect you or to protect the US government and Biden?
Australian Prime Minister Johnny, he said that Elon Musk is out of touch of the real feelings, the depth of feeling about this in Australia.
It just shows his arrogance. This is an egotist, totally out of touch. He clearly sees this as a vanity project for himself.
But the SpaceX founder bit back at Canberra, arguing one country shouldn't be able to ban global access.
No. And I could argue to our dear and beloved Australian Prime Minister that if you don't show this sort of shit on bloody any platform at all, the people themselves are out of touch about what's going on in reality. Jesus, but Johnny, surely you can't show everything. People will be bloody disturbed if you show them what's really going on in the world. It's the same with bloody wars, Johnny. Oh, Jesus, yeah. Yeah, now we're getting all this shit with what's going on in bloody Gaza. Everybody's seeing the bloody buildings are blown. Yes, and see the buildings are all fucking flattened and there's fucking 30,000 people dead. We're showing it, they're showing it every night. And that's led to a bit of backlash that the governments of the US and Israel and Australia and all the goody-goody two-shoes that apparently support Israel, no matter what they do, they don't want people to see that. Yes, of course. If the US bloody government had their rathers, they'd rather people do that wasn't even shown on air at all, that sort of stuff. So you're saying that the reason people get disturbed by seeing these bloody things is because they don't see them enough anyway. They're sort of somehow sheltered. Is that what you're saying?
Streams circulated heavily on social media, prompting Australia's e-safety commissioner to issue tech giants with injunctions to remove worldwide access to the videos.
What I also believe is that people within certain obvious lines defined by consent have the right to look at the kind of content they want to look at. That your individual sovereignty, your ability to choose for yourself is what's significant.
You know, Johnny, it takes me back to the Vietnam War. Yeah, the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War. Oh, Jesus Christ. Now, that particular war was going along pretty well for the US. They were bombing the shit out of the Vietnamese in the 60s, early 60s, and by the mid to late 60s, television crews were getting into Vietnam and showing people on the bloody nightly news what the fucking hell was actually happening.
For most of them, for those who are not shot up or blown away by bullets and mortars and rockets, Vietnam is 12 months of physical torture, endless hours of forced marching, sweating under the tropical Asian sun, grunting and groaning in the harness of a 90-pound pack, soaking in the rains of the monsoon, fighting off insects and crawling lizards, swallowing tasteless food crammed into cans, nursing the infected skin sores called jungle rot, collapsing every day with blistered feet and cramped muscles, and enduring the very private agony of memories of back in the world, and each man's separation from his friends and folks.
And people began to say, Jesus, that's pretty rough. Our boys are getting blown to bits over there. Why are we over there fighting that war? And the tide of the bloody sentiment towards the Vietnam War began to turn. Oh, by Jove, yes.
And there is a component of this debate which most people have missed. If you have extraordinary censorship powers, how those powers are used really matters. The consistency of how the power is used matters. For comparison purposes, this is the sort of content the ABC is uploading to its YouTube page. And let me stress, this image is confronting.
But finding room here is nearly impossible. Nasser Hospital in southern Gaza, chaotic and crammed with even more human misery than usual.
Why has the E-Safety Commissioner not ordered that footage be deleted? The Sydney stabbing was nowhere near as confronting as the images of babies being blasted to pieces, which are flooding social media. Is the difference merely that Israel is to blame in the case, rather than a boy alleged to be an Islamic terrorist? Is it a geocentric issue, where the act has to be committed on Australian soil to be considered confronting? The point I'm making is that these decisions are subjective, and the wide-ranging powers allow discretion. Now, if you have two equally graphic news stories, but only one is censored without proper explanation, we have a pretty big problem in this country.
Well, yeah, if you don't see what's actually happening, Johnny, then you don't really know what's actually happening. That's why these days, Johnny, governments are pushing. All the governments are pushing to limit what can be shown on bloody these platforms. They don't want it to be shown at all. Because life for the bloody governments would be far easier if people didn't know what the hell was going on anyway.